Hi, Joe Cerrone.
Al Rosen.
Welcome to part two of our weekly Zoom meeting. In today's Zoom meeting, we're going to go through the assignments for Module 1.
Okay, on the area over here, you'll see us going back out here to see links below for videos and PDFs. You will see down the bottom, this is number 5. It says video step by step how to do Module 1, which is fantastic. Joe does a great job doing this. And if you click on it, Joe,
Sure.
it automatically goes right to it, hopefully not going to links down. And it just starts talking and works our way right through you and us to each step of the way for all of 5 drawings.
Right. So if I go through this video, there's no reason for us to create all these videos of the same thing over and over again. It essentially, we'll remake videos as the software changes. So AutoCAD likes to move the icons around and change the pictures and things. And sometimes you will see some of the videos that are a little bit dated, but for the most part, AutoCAD is pretty straightforward. And so we go through how to do these different plate drawings using the line command. And so we'll go through and we'll create a plate drawing like this using a template in Grid and Snap. And then once we do the first one, we'll go and hit the tab and create the second one. And so initially we have 5 plate drawings. We'll have you update the title blocks, put the relevant information on there, and then save those drawings and turn them into the Dropbox.
And by the way, try to do all of them at one time, all of flight at the same time. If you don't have to, don't drop them on individually.
And so once you have those plate drawings done, you will put them into this assignments folder. And so module 1 assignment folder is right here, and you will submit that to that. We're going to update the due dates. If we come back here to our homepage in the outline of topics, this week you're to read chapter 1 and chapter 2. If you put in your digital access code, you will be able to link to the reading assignments. And then you'll do the module 1 exercises. And typically everything is due 2 weeks from the day we put it out there. And so these assignments will be due there about the 14th of February. So it'll be due on Valentine's Day. And we typically make those due at 11:30 p.m. at night. So you can still take your significant other out for a nice dinner. Okay, so we're going through the topics, and the topics basically tell students what we do every week. So everything is laid out here. We'll go through these topics next week as well. Back to the D2L. Content. Module 1. And so as we read through this, the D2L system will kind of keep track of, how much access you have to the website. So digitally things work out pretty well. We have some links to some older things that we used to use. So Al and I had a website called AutoCAD. This is kind of for reference now that D2L has taken over, but this was great. We used this since 2007. And so there's a lot of great content here that we developed specifically for AutoCAD.
Yeah.
And so a lot of it has some of the redundancy of the same assignments.
Right. And Joe, if you move over to the right-hand side, when you scroll down, you will see our assignments. And by the way, if you see the XX something, and if you can't find it over there, all you have to do is click on, hover over the blue, and it automatically comes up also.
Right. So that was our predecessor to D2L. As we look at module 1, we still like to leave that in there because there's just great content in there. And then there's a PowerPoint. So if we want to look at our PowerPoint, we can download that. Is that visible? Yes.
Yes.
And so the topics in the first chapter are learning objectives, define computer-aided design, typical applications, value of planning your work, standards, okay, standardized drawings, purpose and importance of drawing standards, layers, line types, text fonts, little things like that make it all work together. and then some demonstrations on how to use AutoCAD. And so this is straight from the textbook as we go through it and take a look at it.
And we're going to go over some of this today, just in a couple minutes on AutoCAD, so you can get an idea of what's going on. We're going to show you how to use the mouse to your advantage also today, and where status bars are, and what can be added to it, and how to put all your things together.
So as you work through these different things with CAD, they all relate to the textbook. And so go through chapter 1, and you'll be able to then take a look at being able to describe these different applications for AutoCAD. What are different drafting standards, different applications, things like what a workspace is and how you work with that. So it's essentially how to navigate the CAD system.
And also, by the way, when you do your quizzes, you can use the book online, any you want.
And so we also have a lecture. And so here's another lecture that I did. And this one basically goes through the learning objectives. And again, how to use the software, the interface, and this lecture is tied directly to the textbook. So we don't necessarily have to go through and do everything over and over again. Now, from another standpoint, we do have like these metrics, and we can see whether people watch the videos or not. And what we find is that people fast forward through them, and that's just fine. You don't have to sit down, and if you are able to just go read the book and do the assignment, terrific. That's all you have to do is do the assignments, put them into the Dropbox, and then take the quizzes and exams. So we make it as easy for you to follow the lesson plan as possible. And then here's our plate drawings. And so as we look at what the first assignment would be, we can go through and do one for them, and then we can show them how to put that into the Dropbox, Al, and then we'll wrap up this video.
Sounds great. Go back to content real quick one more time. Go all the way down, please. And you'll see video there. Click on video, please, real quick. Thank you. And then the video instructions, just go over it again. This is step by step. It automatically goes through how you're going to do it. Fantastic way. So if we go over something too fast right now, you can just slow it down. Pick out what you want, look at it, put it in half of your screen, come over, do it, back, forth. That's what a lot of students do.
Yeah, the best way to learn CAD is really by video. And so we've been doing this for a while. A lot of the other instructors that we work with have these video channels and things like that. And so, yeah, this is how to do the first assignment.
Joe, could we explain to them what the difference of software looks like versus Windows versus Mac?
I think we can just tell them that it looks different, because I think if we start going down that road, we're only speaking to the people who download the Mac software.
Yeah, just as long as they know that the Mac software and on the AutoCAD Windows version is different how it looks. Does the same thing? Yes. Does it look different? Yes.
Right. And it's typical of Macintosh. They always make everything look different than it does, even in word processor or web browser. So our recommendation are, if you do use a Mac, is to either have a Windows partition put onto it or VPN in, or, you just figure it out, because, the commands are the same. You can always type them in and they work the same. It's just the icon in the interface moves things around. It makes it a little trickier to see where the layers button is and where the line button is and stuff like that.
Great. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome. Okay, so we'll go through and we'll show you how to do get started with the first assignment. And that's basically what you need to know for the first week. There's no quizzes or tests. Here's the chapter 1 online textbook. And so if you click on chapter 1, and you log in. Hopefully mine is going to work.
It's always a thrill to find out.
Nope, it's one of those days. But we'll go through. It should be fine. It's always something with it. I know I can get into this book a different way. by going through McGraw-Hill's digital textbooks. And this is essentially what they give you. Let's see where I can find my login.
See, like I said, we also have problems. We're human. We're not a robot, as they say. But,
Yeah, it's not giving me that. It's not a, you have to use Google.
oh, you're in,
It just doesn't work. You know, when you get down to a Yahoo search engine versus, here it is, boom. Anyway, they keep changing the sites on us.
which makes it a little fun every so often.
It's always something. All right, well, we'll come back to that, Al. That's one of those things not working today. So the digital access seemed to have been a little bit of a problem, but we'll fix that. I'm not sure why that happened. But when we get down to the assignment, the first assignment, okay, what you're going to do is you're going to download this plate title block. And then if you have AutoCAD installed and running, it will open up right here. What I like to do is I like to have the exercises. And so what I'll do is I'll come back here to my web browser, and I use 2 monitors. And so I'm just going to go to my AutoCAD website. Well, let's go to the D2L. We'll just do it there. And so in module 1, here's my exercises. I want the PDFs right here. And so I'm going to download that. And then I'm going to open it. And so I'm going to draw these shapes up. And so what we'll do is we'll go here and we'll follow the directions in the video. Essentially in the interface, it has this little button right here. And we like to use this show menu bar because then you get these pull down menus. And so these are really quite helpful. The new standards are with a ribbon with these different tabs like draw, modify, annotate, layers. And the first 2 chapters of the book do a really great job of kind of explaining the interface. So we're not going to spend a ton of time doing that. But under tools, we can go to drafting settings and just make sure that our snap and our grid are enabled. And I like to work these tabs from left to right. And so what this does,
snap mean?
what this does is snap makes the cursor move in 1/2 inch increments. And the grid shows it up like a piece of graph paper.
Thank you.
And then we usually have polar tracking on. We'll demonstrate that. And then these drawings, you don't really need object snap. You can turn it off. It works with it on, but every once in a while you'll get into trouble with it. And so we recommend turning off object O snap. Leave snap on, O snap off. And you can just type in the words too. If I type in snap and then hit the down arrow, I can just say on, and it's on. If I type in snap and hit the down arrow, I can turn it off. So it's not a hard software to use, but it takes a little while to figure it out. And essentially we'll go to the line command, and then you'll notice it's snapping to the grid. And so I'll just kind of count over a couple of grid spots, and then I'll come over here, and we just basically replicate the designs that we have in the D2L core shell. And so as I click with the left mouse button, it provides feedback. And then once I have the basic shape, I can hit the escape key. If I right mouse click, I can repeat the last command. And then essentially what we're going to do is we're going to create these different drawings. Each square is a 1/2 inch, so 1/2 inch, 1 inch. And you can kind of see the measurement is done automatically for you. And so CAD does a terrific job of being able to make accurate drawings. And so that's essentially what this plate exercise does.
And as Joe's moving the mouse, as he moves it down, as a heads-up display tells you what it is, highlighted in blue. It has an angle also, what he's doing. And as he moves to the point he wants to do with the grid paper, he left clicks on his mouse, and that connects to point A, point B, point C, and etc. how he's moving.
That's right. And so we love CAD because it makes our job really much easier as we've gone through and started to do these assignments. And so We basically use just line commands on this. There are a lot of other things like modify commands we'll cover next week, where you could draw a shape and then you could mirror it and you'd have a reflection of it. If you want to try to figure out how to do it yourself, if you find the mirror command and you hover over it a little bit longer, it gives you a help screen. And then if you go into a command like mirror and then you hit the F1 key, it'll take you to the help screen. It doesn't always hit the commands like it should. So sometimes you have to go in here and type in the command again, and then it'll take you the exact way to use the command. And so there's some really helpful help screens. And this is another reason why everything is kind of digital now. Instead of having to open up the book and find it in the books, you can click on the command and go to the help screens.
And it shows a before and after shot.
And we also want you to put in your name on the title blocks. And so that's very important from a standpoint of how things work in this business. And so if you're working for a company, you're going to have to understand how documents and digital access works for these things. So we want you to have the correct date on it. Today is the 31st.
And as he hovers over, highlights, click on it, left click, and automatically hovers and allows it to be edited.
Exactly. And so fill this information out. And then as you create these drawings, then you're going to go to the big red A here.
And by the way, as Joe's moving his mouse, you see him bringing the drawing up and down. You also have on a wheel that moves it up and down, back and inside out, folds it down, and moves it up and down also.
And so we recommend you name them with your initials, Lab 1, Lab 2, Mod 1, Mod 2. And then once you have them saved, you're going to submit them to the Dropbox. And so our first assignment is to create these 5 plates. I have empty plates for the first 5 because I've downloaded the title block. But if I look at the completed exercises, your exercises will look like this upon completion.
Explain to him when you double click the wheel. Oh, that's it.
So it will go through and it will change the zoom levels if you double click the wheel. And so a lot of it is just being able to navigate. If I turn on the grid here, I can type in grid. I can down arrow and type on. So some of them might not have the grid on there. I'm not sure why this one's glitching on me, but it's just typical of one of those things. I think it's because I'm not in paper space, or maybe it's because I'm not in, either way. But
That's one.
This is our first 5 exercises. That won't hold anybody back. It's just a visual thing on the grid. Save the drawing and then go into the D2L. And go to the assignments tab. And then under module 1, it'll tell you if you've submitted it. We have a rubric. And so the rubric will tell you what we're going to be grading you on. And so completeness, graphical accuracy, uses proper design rules, things like layers, line types, properly dimensioned, and then proper use of CAD. So there's a number of other things like appropriate geometries are used, correct symbols, libraries, saving the file correctly. They're not real difficult to hit the points. You will lose points if you turn it in late. And so we will have the assignment due dates posted in the calendar. And for each assignment, we typically give 2 weeks. And so what you'll do is you'll go down to this point right here where it says add a file. And then you'll locate the file that you just created. And so if I go to my, I think I put this in my 2020.
I thought I saw it a minute ago, right there. It says lab something. No, not that.
It was in 2020. Sorry, guys. So I'm just going to grab one of the assignments. It looks like I put it somewhere else, but I'm sure it's here. So once you have the assignment, and I'm just going to pick any one. I'm just going to take my lab 10. You can go ahead and you can add it. And then if you have a note, you can say, here's my assignment.
It's completed, or I have a question about it. You take a look at this thing for and need some help on it, whatever the case be. And that's the way we communicate even more.
Right. So it's a great way for us to share and to be able to use the system so that everything doesn't have to be instant. So you can drop the assignment in. If you put it in there early and you instant message us, you could say, hey, can you take a look at this? I had a problem with this. And then what we can do is we can go through and work with you in a help meeting. All right. So that's the first assignment. As we go through and we take a look at how we're going to run the course, we'll be online every Sunday at 9 a.m. to go through and explain things. And that's pretty much it, right, Al?
Yeah, as we stopped our video, we have it open it up for questions and answers, help, and whatever else. So
That's right. So if you attend the Zoom meetings, we'll end the recordings and then we'll go on to help. So we look forward to seeing you next week and take care.
be safe, stay well.
All righty. Thanks.